I am Peter Piot, and I'm the director of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and at the moment confined home in London.
Welcome to the China Current with me, James Chow. Professor Peter Piot has used his life to bring science to the people. He's transformed the world and given us the chance to live, and with purpose. He co-discovered Ebola in 1976, the year it first appeared in what was then Zaire, followed by research and leadership on HIV and AIDS. His book, No Time to Lose, documents this extraordinary journey, but it now has an update after Peter was infected with COVID-19 and continues to live with the longer-term consequences of a disease we're beginning to understand. On a personal note, he brought me into AIDS and global health, and more importantly, he has done the same for many more young people whose lives today are a testament to his. So it really is an honor for me to bring you this conversation with Peter Piot. Peter, thank you very much for your time. And I think what I would like to know first, and what the world would like to know first, is how are you? It's been a harrowing couple of months for you. You were in treatment, you came out of hospital, supposedly recovered, but you've spoken a lot about the aftershocks of this. How do you feel now?
At the moment, I feel actually much better. It's the first time in 3 months actually that I can breathe properly when I go on the stairs. I went jogging this morning. That's also new. But it's been a really rough time, and particularly after the very lonely 7 nights in the hospital, where I was really very scared to end up in intensive care. Afterwards, I thought it was over, but then I developed these complications of a reactive type of pneumonia because of the hyperimmune response. The body overreacts to the virus and cause a lot of problems in the lungs, and that's far more difficult to get over with. So it's not just like some kind of bad flu, or 1% of people who die, and then often it's said, and they're over 70, like me, or have pre-existing conditions, as if we were not full citizens in society.
I'm sure that you were taking the precautions that you needed to before. Is there any picture now on how you became infected in the first place?
Yeah, I thought a lot about it, particularly more recently. I didn't shake hands, but it was before the UK went into lockdown. Although at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, we closed the school and went working remotely before the government made it compulsory. So the days before I developed my illness, before it started, I was already at home just with Heidi, my wife. But before, as you know, I have a pretty active social life also as the director of the university, and giving talks, ironically, about COVID-19 and epidemics, with students, and had dinners every night. So it was clearly not enough in terms of precautions.
You've spoken and written very movingly about those 7 days in hospital. In fact, I think we emailed while you were on the way to the hospital from your house in London. When you look back at that time, what was that journey like to the hospital?
I decided to go to the hospital because I became confused, and I had a hard time to even get out of bed, which is not my type. Although on the day that I started the illness, I'd worked, I even gave an interview with Christiana Nampour on CNN. So I'm the kind of person who continues to work, but that was clearly a mistake. And so when it got really out of hand, I said, okay, we go to the emergency room. It was also after some initial exams, and where they found that my oxygen saturation, which is an indicator of how well does the blood, absorb the oxygen from the air from your lungs, was very, very low. They put me immediately on oxygen support. And they found that I had bacterial pneumonia based on chest x-ray. And then I was put in an isolation room together with 3 men, and who all suffered from the same thing. And that's where we then, for 7 days, you're not allowed to have any visitors. You can't leave the room, but it's oxygen that saved my life. And also, of course, the fact that they could treat bacterial pneumonia with antibiotics.
At what point did you feel that you were moving between, as you've called it yourself, between that state of heaven and earth?
First of all, as soon as I entered the emergency room, I switched from being a doctor to become a patient. And I didn't try to second guess what the doctors would do and so on. And in any case, I was too exhausted. It's like you're hit by a bus, going, out of bed, going to the toilet, just eating. It's all too much. And so that was a fundamental switch. And it's like, and then it takes a bit of a while, to realize, oh boy, I'm here in total isolation. And the only people you see are the caregivers, nurses who do the fantastic job. And I think some of them were as scared as I was, because they're exposed to people who are infectious. And my biggest concern was that I would end up on a ventilator. Some people send me messages, yes, you're a strong person and you're fit and healthy, and it's true, I've never been seriously ill in my whole life. I said, but there's nothing I can do. What can I do? This is not a matter of strong will or being strong. Your body is being taken over by this virus in every cell, and you just hope that it's strong enough to react, but not overreact. It's out of control. Your life is not under your control anymore.
Well, if there ever comes a day when we can do it safely, I can't wait to give you a huge hug, Peter, because we love you and we want you to get better, because the world continues to need you.
It's wonderful to see you, James, and hopefully very soon in person. Thank you so much.
You can listen to the full conversation with Peter Piot at thechinacurrent.com or your preferred podcast platform. Thank you.